Welcome to Turning Tuesday. I am Reese and I am turning a Red Ironbark 5-inch snack bowl. This little beauty it's still a bit green, so it's only been down for about 6 months. It has warped a little bit, but not much. So what happened was I had been sitting there in my funk. As I mentioned a couple of videos ago, I haven't been turning, and my wife ran in and screamed, "They're cutting a tree down! They're cutting a tree down!" And I was like, "Okay, where?" She was like, "Just down the street." So I went out, had a chat with the arborists that were chopping this tree down and immediately throwing it in the mulcher. And I said, "Hey, any chance I can take some of that?" And they were like, "Sure." The mulch is just going any random place where they find it, so they were very happy to get rid of it and not have to spend any more time mulching. So I took a good 5 or 6 chunks of this, most of it crotchwood, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Since then it's cracked to absolute billio, so I cut it down into bulb lengths, and I've got some big ones, but most of them around this size or a little bit bigger, and some are significantly smaller. Anyway, so first thing I'm doing here is just getting rid of that corner. It was still missing, and this is actually a piece from a short I released at the time that I called Tree Butt. I was recording and then my phone screen exploded. I went to grab my phone and it actually went pop. So that was less than ideal. And I actually included an image of that in the short. Because, yeah, I'd never experienced that in my life. And what had happened is under the screen of my phone, which is what I use primarily for recording, is a fingerprint reader chip. And when I was doing the chainsawing, it was in direct sunlight. It overheated. As I took it out of the phone mount, I must have done some sort of warpage with it. So either not released the phone mount enough, or it was just going to happen either way. And so yeah, I got the phone screen replaced, and they were like, "We've never seen one like this ever." So that was interesting, and I hope that we never experience that again, because that was pretty bad. Anyway, so got the phone fixed and then did nothing else with the wood. So it was in the heat of summer, and by the time I did 2 cuts with the chainsaw, it had overheated because it was 27 degrees Celsius by 9 a.m. So trying to do anything in a reasonable hour without pissing the neighbors off. Yeah, so I ended up cutting these a couple of weeks back into bulb lengths. I cut all of my claret ash up into the bulb lengths, well, all of the stuff that was sitting in my garage, and I did these, and I did some red river gum that I had there from before we did the milling, from the same tree, but before we did the milling. So I cut those into lengths as well. So all these little bowls you've been seeing are from the big batch of lengths I made. I ended up with about 60 lengths in total. Since the time of doing that, I've been back up to Mugga and grabbed some more. So we had the logs milled, and I also brought some of the planks back, and I'm thinking about taking some down to Sid for turn SA. It's still very green, so it'll warp, and I think seeing what he would want to do with it, whether he does something green or whether he just sits it aside for a while, I think it'd be interesting, because all of them have some sort of fun inclusion, which would be a nice challenge for anyone. Okay, so on to the video. So far we have drilled it out, we've done a rough shape, we've marked where the tenon's going to go, which will also be the foot. And now I'm just trying to make sure it's actually round. Just bouncing the back of the tool there and can tell, nope, not round. From this angle you can see the back of the chuck there getting highlighted in the shadows. And yep, still got quite a ways to go. I'm very much enjoying the way this little inclusion of the sapwood is coming out. When this was fresh cut, that sapwood was almost a highlighter yellow, like it was very fluoro. I couldn't believe just how yellow it was. And since then, it's died down to a bit more of a muted white, but still very much beautiful. Riding that bevel up along the side there, as you can tell with the shininess coming off the side of the bowl. It'll be both a nice cut as well as a very nice shiny spot. So minimal sanding will be required. Most of this video is in real time, and the only bits I sped up were when I was moving the tailstock around, or not tailstock, sorry, when I was moving the tool rest or swapping between tools, more to the point. So for the most part I just used my spindle gouge, and again bouncing my tool, and that was mostly smooth, but there was still a little bit of a bounce there. And as you can see, getting some really nice stringers coming off here. This wood cut absolutely beautifully. Shame about my tool presentation, creating a nice big divot in there. User error, not wood error. Snaking down to the line here. Pick up that quite like I'd wanted to, but that's okay. I will come in with a scraper here and the skew and make sure we are good. Still a tiny little flat spot. Just coming back with that spindle gouge, and I'll do another light pass through. Did a guesstimate of how much I had to take off, and went as deep as what I thought that little mark would be. Doesn't help when you taper it out at the top. It's almost gone. Not quite. I can still see it ghosting up the top of the bowl there. There it is. Just went straight past it. Running my thumb over it there, but deciding since I've still got to square up the top, that'll probably disappear. And deciding I needed to readjust my tool rest. I did end up taking another pass. Just one more. Just one more. How many times do we say that as turners to ourselves? Just one more pass. Just one more. Just one more. Oops, now I've got a funnel. Looking from above here, I'm not liking the way the shape of that is now, but I know I'm going to fix that with the scraper. So just raising my rest there so I can bring the scraper in. Now, the question is, did I bring the scraper in first? I did. So I bring the scraper in, fix the curvature, get it nice and smooth, and fix that angle. And I'll bring the skew in and sharpen up that corner. Just doing very gentle touches there. Dip the tool a little bit and wasn't quite flat on the tool rest then, but it was flat enough. Just doing very gentle passes, as you can tell from the fluff that's on the tool rest. Not doing thick passes at all. Now we've got a little bit more curvature in that. I've just gone, now I've got to fix that foot. So, coming in with the skew tip. And finalising the dimensions on that. Coming in, so I've got a nice sharp corner, and just taper it out into the bowl with a little blend, using it as a negative rate scraper. And now I'm just giving a little kiss across the front to take the sharp corner off that foot. And I can see that blend wasn't 100% there. I just hit it again with another blend. With that radius, I can really start on the right hand side and then swing it around as I come up, just following the curvature of the bowl, using the back heel here and putting a foot on and push it across, and beautiful little foot there. Obviously my tool rest was too high for that tool. And now I will come back and try and fix that. So the tool rest is now at halfway, so that when I get there, so that I can dip it below, I will have my tool elevated to about 20 degrees. As you can tell, with the nice big stringers coming off there, nice and wide, and that has smoothed it off beautifully. And now I'm like, still got to get rid of that nub. I'm just giving that foot a little taper, so it's just about 1 millimeter on the outside that makes contact with the table, or bench, or surface top, whatever you're doing it. And so it's tapered in so that only the outside rim touches, which is something that I really enjoy in my little bowls. Went a little too hard there, gave myself a little jump scare. You can really see me doing it with a rock around there. Using the tip of that tool and just rolling it around the curvature as I go. That has come up an absolute treat. A little bit of picked up grain there, but I'm saying to myself, that'll sand out. So, we are moving into the sanding process, and we're using 120. Nope, we've started with 80. So because of that picked up grain, I dropped down to 80. Could have got away with 120, but I dropped down to 80, and Give it a little touch all over. So 80, 120, 180, 240, 320, and then 400. If you've watched this far, I'd like to say thank you very much, and if you've got any feedback or any requests of things you'd like made in the future, please leave a comment. This video will be scheduled to come out 2 weeks before I'm in South Australia with Turn SA. That's an event that is an annual wood turning event in Kingston, SE, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, this transformation there, going from that pale wood to this beautiful vibrant red and orange and yellow once that oil got applied, was such a stunning transformation. I haven't seen such a shift like that since I did some work with she oak. Putting on some beeswax there, melting the beeswax in. Such a beautiful colour shift there, and the contrast is just lovely. I really like the accent piece that that's given. I'm ready to flip it round. I'll loosen that off, take the screw out, and clamp it down. Give it a hand spin, make sure it's running true. Happy with that. Ready to progress. Get out of my way, sandpaper. Do a depth hole. Now, I start quite shallow with my cuts here, and then I start swinging around just to make Sid happy. That and to make my life easier. This was one of the fastest coring outs I've done yet. I was very impressed. The entire bowl process for this only took 36 minutes. That's why most of it's in real time. And here's some fancy editing just for Sid. He's always saying I go too far and go super fancy with my editing. So here's a little picture-in-picture, so you can see that I am starting quite shallow with my cuts. And as I get a little bit further out, I really start bringing that tool around. The reason I do this is I want to get a little bit of depth first. And I find the long wings on this tool, if I don't do a couple of shallow passes first, it doesn't sink in quite as fast. So you'll notice I'm getting almost the whole way around there and a long way around there. And all the way around there. Just watching how that bevel rides, trying to get it parallel with the blade bed. It's not about getting the tool parallel, it's about getting that bevel so it goes straight in. Given this has fairly wide edges on the outer rim, it's not advisable to go the whole way around because you want to match the rim. So I think this is the last pass before I pull the scraper out. I might clean up the bottom a little bit. The wall thickness on this is about 4 mil. Nice out of focus shot there. And I've decided not to do another pass with that tool. Having a feel, making sure everything's good. Going, I think I need to go a bit deeper yet. So, going to where the roughness started and the imbalance started, and taking the tool in. At this stage, I'm no longer looking inside the bowl. I am standing up for the most part, and I've got no idea what it looks like inside. I'm barely watching it. I'm sometimes catching a glimpse of the far right hand side of the bowl, but for the most part I'm just going by feel. When I get to the scraper, I do watch it a little bit more. I'm still not confident with the scraper. So I've raised the tool up. As you can tell, nice and sharp. That picked up the cut straight away. Now here I am most definitely looking inside because I am afraid of catching that wing. So I'll get into a shear scrape and just bring it up that wall and blend those curvatures in together. As you can hear, the wall's starting to get a little bit thin with that little scream up towards the top. Mostly happy with that, but I think I'll give it another pass and just match it. Here I'm just trying to get the tool to match the radius of the bowl. Beautiful little tiny thin ultra fine shavings, getting that shearing scrape absolutely beautiful. Got a little dimple in the middle still, but for the most part I'm liking it. You'll notice here I haven't gone in with a pencil on this one because I was for the most part happy with how it came out. You can see these little tool marks, but they're not that bad. They'll sand out. I did create a little ridge there, so I'll just touch that up. And that's much, much better. You'll notice there was some tear out up on the rim. I'm just making a little scrape in, giving it a gentle shear scrape. It's not a full 45, just enough to taper that in a little bit and get rid of that tear out. I'm very happy with how that's come out. So I'll move the tool rest out of the way and get ready for sanding. This is in 4 times speed, but the entire sanding of this only took about 2.5 minutes. I just decided I wouldn't make you suffer through it. It's got a beautiful smooth curvature to it now. Let's come in with some oil. This is chopping board oil, so it's got a bit of lemon in there, and a bit of tongue, I believe. Melt in some beeswax, and this one will be done. Very pleased with how this one's come out. If you've enjoyed this, then please leave a comment. If you're not subscribed, please feel free to do so. There is more coming soon. I am very much in love with this little bowl, and it's a top contender right next to my live edge. If you missed that, that was 2 weeks ago, and yeah, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed.